And many people, when they talk about conservation, often tell us that we should help our Maasai partners to wipe out and to remove livestock from the landscape. But livestock are a very, very important part of East African savannas and many of the other habitats that are inhabited by wildlife on the continent. And we know for sure that, we know for sure that the cultural dependency and the ability of livestock to generate significant incomes for these communities at a scale that would really change their lives is very, very high. And the second thing is that in many of these areas, these societies have managed to continue their lifestyles without exterminating wildlife. So in fact, we found that the pastoralist culture and the pastoralist way and the way they use land is very supportive of conservation. And we've decided that rather than try to get these communities to stop their livestock and their pastoral practices, that we should encourage them by making sure that we can help them, link them to markets that help them to get better prices and better values for their livestock in a manner that will encourage them to reduce the total number of stock that are held on the land, and in a manner that will create a premium on the quality of their cattle so that they don't feel the need to keep as many cattle as they currently do. And so what AWF has done is to create a revolving fund in areas where we are working with communities. Communities have already embraced conservation, that already are working on land management and land protection programs in ways that enhance conservation. And what we've done is to develop a loan fund, give a loan to a partner organization that has already got linkages to market, to livestock markets, has already got sufficient land to absorb some of the cattle from the neighboring ranches as holding ground before the cattle are slaughtered for market. And they also have the equipment and the facilities to be able to convert that livestock into beef for the market. And so we're targeting communities in neighbor protected areas in the places where we work. We have created criteria for eligibility that is based on very clear conservation principles that must be met. They include land use, clear land use plans that show where wildlife will be conserved on those lands, where livestock will be held. They have agreed to making sure that we can label and notch their cattle so that once they sell cattle, they don't go back to market and buy fresh cattle to repopulate using the increased incomes that AWF is delivering. We have talked about the husbandry practices, because oftentimes in these societies, what you find is livestock are held under conditions and in enclosures that are very weak, and it is very easy for lions in areas like this to get in and kill their stock. So we are also talking about some of the other management criteria that they have to meet in order that as the livestock grows, the numbers of wildlife grows, that we don't increase the conflict between livestock and people and between wildlife and people. So all those principles and criteria have been agreed upon as the project proceeds. And so we have provided our neighbor, our partner, with a loan of $350,000. It may seem like a very small loan, but you will see that the returns from this loan are going to be very substantial for the communities. The repayment period is over 10 years, and we can grow the fund if we wish, and depending on the success. We have taken the low interest of 4% as a guide for the interest rate. But why this, and what do we hope to deliver? We're hoping to deliver $8 million to communities over 10 years. And this is just based on the current model if we only use $350,000. If we have more money and we have the capacity to take more livestock off the land, it means we can grow that number and those figures tremendously. But for the time being, our model, based on 8 communities that we work with, will deliver $8 million over 10 years. As I said, there is huge potential for growth depending on what expansion the expansion proposals that we have in the future. And we expect and have already begun to deliver 30% more income per individual cow to the landowner through this program. So already we have a lot of community members lining up, first and foremost, to sign off on the conservation principles that we have set, so that they can get onto those programs and enjoy the benefits, its benefits. That was supposed to be a surprise, sorry. This thing is not working so good. Okay. I'll put in that slide just to show you that a lot of times NGOs are accused of doing business without following business principles. The African Wildlife Foundation, when we started our business program, enterprise program, realized that delivering business and delivering businesses needed and required that as an institution, not only did we have staff who understand the business world, but were able to help us organize our program in a manner that accommodated and follows business principles. And what we've done is, as an organization, is we have hired a team of MBAs, people who are really experienced in the business world, to work on our enterprise program to ensure that we deliver these businesses in a manner that, one, that is driven by business principles, two, that we can ensure they can be sustained, and that most importantly, they can deliver both our conservation goals as well as our enterprise and financial goals. And what the team has done is really developed a process that is very, very rigorous, that is very robust, that helps us not just to choose businesses, but be informed by the normal business expectations. We do very thorough due diligence on businesses when they're selected. They have to do business plans that satisfy certain criteria for the organization. We then will go and raise the money for the project. Before we will go to the project development phase. We will look at the benefits as part of that overall deal brokering. And then we'll work with communities and our partners to ensure that when the benefits are delivered, they're also managed in a manner that allows them to be used in ways that will create greater wealth, but also respectful of conservation. And then we have a program that helps to monitor these businesses so that we can ensure they're sustainable business. And I'll tell you, we've done this from experiences that have been fairly difficult experiences. We started like everybody else thinking you can do enterprises, you can do businesses. Just get up one day, there's a nice lodge, get somebody, go construct it, somebody will come and run it, somebody will come and stay there. You know, the tourists will find their way to this destination as long as it's there. And we actually found that it doesn't work that way. There's a rigorous process of business planning, of marketing, of making sure that you find the money, and that also that you're able to provide and deliver the management and the customer care that is required in order to attract that. So we have really completely changed our business model. And as a result of that, you saw Sabino, we were able to deliver it in record time because we now have a very rigorous process. And just finally, in the way of some of the comments that we get from partners, from supporters, from your leaders. Recently, we had the honor of a visit from the U.S. Secretary of Treasury in Tanzania. We actually took him to Manyara Ranch School, and he spent time going through that ranch, looking at wildlife on the ranch. He visited the children in that school. He went and saw the cows as well. There were a lot of cows for him to see, and he was surprised why there were so many cows amongst the wildlife. And by the time we finished the morning visit with him, that is what he wrote to us. He was really impressed with the program. He could, by the end of it, he understood the importance of the linkages between wildlife conservation, between livelihood, between economic development. Because for Africa, you cannot do conservation without thinking about people, without thinking about economics, and without thinking about livelihoods, because all of them live in the same environment, and they're intertwined, and there is no way that you can separate them. So our model is designed to deliver the benefits in the way that the U.S. Secretary of Treasury has articulated in that letter to us. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Helen. Patrick, the whole team. There may be some questions, but we're officially out of time.